hearing. If they have other comments, they can.
Generic.
Yeah, it's a little warm.
Because he got on his jacket. I ain't put on my jacket today. I didn't feel like having a hot flash. Is it the time? You ready? Good evening, everyone. I know everybody's a little interesting setup tonight. We're excited to be here, to be sharing our meeting. We're going to open the meeting jointly, and then we'll go proceed with the meeting as so. We figured that with a group this large, we needed 2 prayers. Do y'all have a designated prayer? We got one up here too. So we'll open it first with a prayer.
Every head bow. Our Father and our God, we humbly bow before you this evening, asking that you would guide us in our activities as we deliberate the issues at hand. We pray that you would give us consensus and that your will be done. In Jesus' name we ask. Amen.
We're open for if y'all wanted another prayer. All right.
Much prayer, but
Much prayer, much power, right? At this time, we have the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So at this time, we'll recognize our visitors. Thank you so much for being here. We do have a joint group. And what we'll proceed with, if they're just generic comments, at this time we usually have comments. You have a 3-minute limit. But if you're going to talk specifically to the about the precinct boundaries, there will be a public hearing that would take place in a few minutes after this. So if this is something you would like to share generically, we didn't have anybody that signed up, and so we'll go from that point. And now they say you can open your meeting officially.
okay. The special board meeting for the Crockett School District, City of Crockett is now in session. We've already stood for the pledge, we've already stood for prayer, so we're going to continue on.
Thank you so much. And so what we'll do, we'll pass item number 1, and we will go immediately to item, I'm sorry.
Some comment? You
We're
have a
still on public hearing?
We haven't opened the public
Okay.
hearing yet.
Go ahead.
Those
I've
just
got some.
generic comments. Okay, so we're about to go to the public hearing on item number 2. The public hearing is now officially open. And at this time, the way the process works, you're allowed to speak, and it's still a 3-minute speech. Whatever you can say, there's no generic dialogue from the audience to the person, but the person speaking may express themselves.
Number 2, you express number 2.
Yes, sir, yes, she expressed
Now, I permitted to speak to you all concerning the line.
You're permitted to speak 3 minutes, and you may speak from the podium. Yes, sir.
No, we on number 2. We on the public hearing.
Okay. Cool.
We can hear him.
He was
We can hear him.
To the Honorable Mayor, City Council, and all persons connected with the City of Crockett. To the President, officers, and all persons associated in this joint session of the city of Crockett and the Crockett Independent School District relating to the single member district case. As you know, in the Barbara Jewell case, she resided out in the community. We were about to bring the city of Crockett in, and they moved and joined your case. Barbara Jewell would not have been a plaintiff. I'm your living plaintiff for the city of Crockett. They testified in the court. I looked at your lines, and I suggest that the attorneys that were in the case be privileged with looking at these lines, and or that you send them to Baltimore, Maryland, to our national office, and that is to the national office of the NAACP, acronym for National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. There were several groups in this case that you lost, and the paperwork expresses that the minorities be protected in this discriminatory area. There is no question whether it's discriminatory or not. That is not at issue. What is at issue? All of these different disagreement between the city that says this line is meeting that of the federal government, and your line that's meeting the agreement. I don't see how three different groups can be together when you disagree with what you're doing. I thank you for the privilege and express to you that I am concerned to the point of bringing you back to federal court.
Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Scott.
Is there anyone else that would like a comment during the public hearing? Are there any more public comment? If not, we're going to close the public hearing. Okay, the public hearing has officially been closed. At this time, each one would have to open to vote on it.
If you want to open agenda item number 3, and they can open their agenda item as well.
Okay. Well, we're opening agenda item number 1. Group number 1 would open the agenda item. Group number 2 is open agenda item. Okay.
Where did we get comment on anything?
Y'all can comment during the agenda item
Agenda item
if y'all want
on
to.
number 3.
Okay, now since we're on the agenda item, do you have, the council have any comment?
You want to open
I'm open back up.
no, it's closed.
Not about this, but about anything.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't read it. That's what he's saying, right? So we're gonna get this
Anything.
together. We're doing a trial by error here. Item number 3, consider and approve an ordinance of the city. No, that's wrong one. Item number 3. Consider and approve an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Crockett, Texas, approving the redistricting of the city's single-member council precinct and establishing new precinct boundaries line based on 2020 census data for the city of Crockett, Texas, city of council elections, making various findings and provisions related to the subject and providing for an effective date. Now, discussion.
No, she wants to open.
Oh, I'm sorry, you have to open yours too. I'm sorry.
Okay, item number 3, deliberation of possible action to select a new redistricting map for trustee district.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open this up. We'll have our attorneys also listening in, and they can respond if needed. Eric and/or Troy, are you guys there and listening to us?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
I'm here.
All right. Okay, so just a quick recap. We've been brought to this position after right at 20 years since our 2000 census was completed. Since that point, we have not revisited the issue of our precinct lines. In our city charter, it says that every 10 years, upon the release of the data of the decennial population numbers, that we will view our precinct boundaries and ensure that we are properly distributing our populations. That's according to the charter. The school district, which is typical, every 10 years, they've been looking at their precinct information. 3 years ago, after the release of 2020's data, they started looking at their precinct information, and they adopted a new precinct lines to address their population numbers.
John, if I could, just a point of clarification there. It wasn't 3 years ago. If you remember, the census was delayed because of COVID, and then
Correct.
Then the results of the census were also delayed because of COVID. So
Sure.
we didn't get that data for quite some time. Ours has only been in place now for coming up on a year.
Right. And so then it was brought to our attention of the necessity to align ourselves to the Barbara Jewell case. In the 1990s, there was a lawsuit in which the city and the school district came to an agreement, and some of the agreements were that in order to address voter confusion or suppression, that we would also align where our voter precinct boundaries overlap, that they would align with each other in order to not live in one area and end up having to go to two different polling places. So by us adopting a joint map, we are bringing our voting lines back into agreement with that court order and agreement. The other one was that we would maintain majority African American vote in at least two of our precincts. This addresses that, and in fact increases it in two other precincts as well. The other issue was the deviation of our population. Our population was 55% deviated between our smallest precinct population and our largest precinct population. This brings us back into compliance with Voter Rights Act and federal law. We did issue, we asked Troy and Eric, and they looked at, if you look at Exhibit A, and I'll pull it up real quick. Exhibit A, if you see over on between boundaries precincts 2 and 3, this line right here follows a creek bed, which is also a boundary of a census block. But that is the only place where it doesn't actually follow a road as a permanent marking boundary that you can easily go by. You know that if you live on this side of the road, you're in one precinct, and the other not. You go down so far, and then at this creek. And so that is a kind of a confusing portion. The other issue that was brought up to us from Exhibit A, and we asked them to look at, is precincts 2 was the lowest populated precinct. 10% deviation is the maximum allowed. You know, that's what the goal is, to stay under 10% under the Voting Rights Act of deviated precincts. We were at 9.63%. By making the changes in precincts 2 and 3's boundaries, it also brings that down to 8.93%. So it's a little bit more compliant and not as close to that 10% maximum deviation. The school district's exhibits, their map does not change except for if we adopt exhibit A or B, that boundary line, where their lines come in and cross into our city limits, they will align. If we agree on the same map, they will align with our exhibit A or our exhibit B. And it's roughly about a 20%, a population differencing of right at 20 people. So it, instead of 1189 in precinct 2 and precincts 3 had 1230, it increases precincts 2 to 1221 and decreased precincts 3 to 1198. So it went from a 40 population off to a little bit less than 20. So, and that's the only change between exhibit A's and B. Exhibit B, instead of following that creek bed, it follows the lake road all the way out to the loop and then cuts out on West Houston and then ties back into the school district's map.
John, I wanted to note to you that's the only change within the city limits. In order to account for that population shift within the city limits,
Right.
the boundary between school district or precinct 2 and 3 also changed west of the Cooper area out towards the town of Austonia along State Highway 21. That line was moved back into precinct 3, which is where it is under the map that was adopted in the Jewel litigation too. So that actually was left back with this change back into precinct 3.
Okay, right there.
Because that population had to be balanced out. When you add the people over in the city limits, you had to balance it back out outside of the city limits for the school district. One of the challenges throughout all of this is the small numbers of people that live in each of these districts. So when you move 20 people, it has a huge impact on the percentage of deviation. And so that's why we had to make that change to keep that population within the acceptable deviation. And so I just want to make clear to the school board that that was the only other change made to the map. The one within the city limits that Mr. Angerstein noted, and then the one outside of the city limits between Cooper and Austonia, those 3 census blocks out there were shifted from 2 to 3.
Mr. Eric, and correct me if I'm wrong, this also addresses some of our concerns that any of these lines would be moved to the point to where 2 incumbents could be facing off in the same precinct. This addresses that every incumbent currently seated in city and school remains in their precinct that they were elected in. This also allows for all the polling places to still remain intact, right? So if someone in precinct 4 was used to going in precinct 4, where it's always been at the school, or if it's 5 at the senior citizen center, those remain the same.
That's correct. In fact, that's what made this such a challenge, was trying to put the lines together within the city and without the city for the school district, and keep the population within the acceptable deviations, and account for the residence addresses of those incumbent members such that you do not disrupt the choices of the people and make people have to run against each other, and to make sure that that is congruent for both the school district and the city. If you'll note, the jog in to District 4 within the city limits at the corner of Anson Jones Avenue and Wells Street, in that triangle there, that's the Senior Citizen Center, which is a polling place for Precinct 5. It remains a polling place for Precinct 5. And that's why that looks like that, is to make sure that it accommodates Precinct 5. So in order to make the population fall within the deviation allowed by one person, one vote, which is a constitutional requirement, in order to comply with the Voting Rights Act such that we maintain the ability of minority communities to elect their candidate of choice, and in fact actually increase that opportunity within the city. And in order to make the lines congruent between the city and the school district, as you have requested, that's what led to the lines that you see in front of you. If you have specific questions about those lines, I'm happy to entertain those, or even the data, the demographic data as well.
Council have any? Okay, this is right now, this is just the council, the public hearing has already been held.
Initially, I think a lot of the concerns were that the school and the city were not lined up. And we didn't want to create vote suppression where people would have to not know where to vote, run here, run there to vote a couple of times for the same election. So we know the importance of having it lined up the way that it's, but as long as I've been voting, been lined up with the city. So we want to make sure that we are lined up and it's not creating a hardship on the citizens during voting time.
And I'm comfortable now that nobody has to run against each other if they run again. And that was a concern of mine, that everybody, as they are, they have equal opportunity to run again, and you don't have to go against anybody to be out of your precinct.
So, okay. I see where they talking about, like, they doing the census and everything, but is the census based on voters or just everybody? Because if it's just based on voters, from what I'm looking at, most of the Democratic vote then went down and Republican vote then went up. Voters range then went up.
Maybe. Oh.
You get what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? So, if the census is just based on everyone in that precinct, or is it based on everybody that's registered to vote?
So I can answer that. It's not based upon who is registered to vote.
Exactly.
The census is based upon both total population, and then there's also a subset of the census which tells us citizen voting age population, or voting back, or voting age population. As you know, people who are 18 are not below 18, can't vote yet, and so they are taken out of that number. And also non-citizens are taken out of that number, and that data is presented in the table there. The area to the right of VAP, or voting age population, is the demographic breakdown of your voting age population.
So who are we
The
considering?
numbers that are used, I'm sorry, let me just finish real quick. The numbers that are used for the purposes of total deviation are total population, not voting age population.
So what population is considered a minority?
So, for the purposes of the census, minority population is considered to be the combination of what is called the non-white population. That would be Hispanic, Black, Asian, Native American, or other ethnicities.
Okay.
Now, with regard to compliance with the Voting Rights Act, the Fifth Circuit has made clear, this actually just happened in the last couple of months with regards to the Galveston case, that they want to consider, for the purposes of compliance with the Voting Rights Act, a majority of voting age population of a particular ethnic group acting alone be the standard that's used for maintaining compliance with the Voting Rights Act. And in the map that you have before you, with regard to the city of Crockett, there are two districts that are a majority African-American district. And then there is a minority opportunity district in District 2. It does not constitute a majority of the population of a single racial group. But overall, together with other minority groups, it is a minority opportunity district with over 70% minorities in District 2. With regard to District 5, it's just a bare majority, a minority majority. And then when you look at Crockett ISD, there are, again, 2 African-American majority districts, and there are 3 minority majority districts in that map.
Any other? Did it answer your question?
Yeah.
Does anyone from the council have any questions?
Anyone from the school board have any questions or comments?
Okay, so we can go ahead and get a motion to vote on it? Or do we close it out? Council, are you prepared to vote?
Yes.
Okay, can we get a motion?
I make a motion.
Yeah. We accept?
The one thing that I would request that you include in your motion is whether we adopt Exhibit A or Exhibit B, which is the last.
Man, look at it.
Exhibit B is the last one that we've gone over.
I make a motion with adopt Civic B.
Okay. Motion's on the table, all in favor?
I'll second it motion.
I'm sorry, second, I'm moving too fast. It's been moved and second, all in favor? Okay, it's 2. Oh. It's a tie. 2 to 1 or what? You need to break?
It'd have to be anonymous to,
Oh, it has to be the full.
unanimous.
Okay, so are you, what was your, did you vote, you voted against it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Do you have another motion to make?
I make a motion that the boundaries stay the same, but it don't matter.
Well, I agree with that too.
Do you make is that in the form of a motion, or?
I make a motion that the boundary lines stay the same.
Okay.
Is there a second on it?
I mean, works for me.
Okay.
Was it?
Do you want to put that in the form of a motion?
I mean, yes,
If
I
we
know
need-
how I feel about it,
If we need
but
to do with this, with the school district, I mean.
That's the
and
that's the
there's gonna
goal
be
is,
lawsuits.
yes, there
I
will.
mean, there'll be lawsuits. So, and then we all have to run again.
So this right
I mean-
here, your precincts 2,
You're gonna be better off.
this increases
no, I won't.
considerably.
Yeah, you will.
No, I won't.
Why do you say that?
Okay, were we gonna table our
Look at
motion?
the
or
numbers.
what do you want for last?
I see the numbers.
Is there anything else you would like me to research and do, or what do you?
I then said how I felt and how I feel about it. I'd rather for the boundary lines stay the same, but
Okay.
it's
They can't.
whatever y'all wanna do.
Okay, so what are,
Because
If we're not voting to change our map inevitably stays the same, with or without a vote, really.
okay, so where are we?
No vote,
No vote.
and then it'll be up to.
Okay. Y'all can go ahead.
No.
We have a stalemate. No, we haven't passed, but y'all can go ahead and take your vote.
So, but if we make a vote and you guys hadn't voted, we still wouldn't be in line.
I mean, even, we'll have to address ours that are,
I'm sorry.
Right now, our lines are out of sync with yours already. So if y'all are okay with y'all's map and y'all vote to,
I'd rather for all the council members to be here before we discuss this,
me too.
to be
We can't
honest.
get all of them here.
Even if it's just Reverend Ivy here, I'd rather for that to happen.
okay, well, either, I mean, whether we do it or not, they can go ahead and take the vote.
I second.
We have a motion and a second to accept exhibit D. All in favor?
So does exhibit D,
Any questions, comments?
does exhibit D get this one to mirror the city?
If the city votes, decide to go with exhibit D. If the city does not decide to go with exhibit D, then we won't have we'll be back to square one.
Okay,
I mean, because
but,
it's very important that we.
okay, well, we understand that, but all the council's not here, so.
There was a
we're-
request that we
We
wait,
go
we
wait,
wait for the other council members. There was a request for that. So if y'all wanted to go ahead and make y'all's vote.
you could still have your vote without us.
But if we adopt Exhibit B, that puts us in compliance with the federal election law. That puts us in compliance with the lawsuit from 30 years ago, based upon what the attorneys have said.
Yes,
And then Crockett Independent School District is in compliance. The city of Crockett is out of compliance. And we are both separate entities. We're two taxing entities, but we are in compliance, as I understand it, if we adopt Exhibit B. Is that not correct?
yeah, you're compliant.
And exhibit D takes in the road, not the creek.
That's correct.
Yeah,
It clears that up.
Clear
Yeah.
that part up, yes.
But it's still not crystal clear. And I would really love it to be crystal clear. It's not crystal clear that if we adopt exhibit D tonight and the city does not adopt exhibit D, we will not be lined up with the city.
but y'all,
As stated in the.
to all extent, y'all will be lined up with what needs to be lined up with.
And
And-
the polling area would be where they need to be?
The polling area at this time is not gonna change with even at this point. So what would actually happen with, you would go ahead and you would adopt it. We still have an open ended because we have council members that, and it wasn't a majority because it's only 3. But it wouldn't affect you either way. Y'all would still be in compliance. Right now, we're gonna be out of compliance if we don't come to consensus. We will have to take a vote. And if that happened, it won't affect you in your position in a negative way. Y'all will still be where you need to be in terms of, in the boundaries of where they are. It would still be with the city having to address their deficiency. If it's a deficiency.
So that would still make the voting places be where they need to be at?
That,
The polling places will still be.
they will maintain where they are, and the people wouldn't move out of their voting district at this point.
And that's what exhibit D, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Any more questions or comments? At this time, we have a motion and a second. No more questions, comments, all in favor? For exhibit B?
Thank you.
All opposed? None opposed.
Okay, so with that being said, y'all can adjourn and we'll go ahead with the city council, since y'all have nothing else on the agenda with us.
Okay, can I make a comment before
Sure.
we do that? I just wanted to thank the city. I don't believe this has ever happened before.
It's a new thing.
I've been questioned, why would we want to work with the city? And I think my answer is, why would we not want to work with the city and try to make things
Okay.
better for all of our
Yeah.
community? Because we serve the same people. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys
Thank
accommodating
you.
this and this special meeting. And hope that our relationship continues and we work
Thank
Well,
y'all
we
for being
do-
willing to come.
Yeah, we do appreciate it, and there are a lot of issues that we're just one city, one little happy family here, and we're gonna have to work out a lot of details of other things. So we do appreciate you coming, and thank you so much, and we'll be looking forward to next endeavor. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Have a good night.
Still trying to figure out how we can get
Okay.
everybody here.
I was this table for, neither one. So it has to be a full consensus?
If it's just 3.
Oh, if it's just 3, okay. I see what you mean. Okay. But we just get it ready and go for the vote.
Mr. Ivy has the flu,
Oh,
and he called in and said has fever
should
today.
have brought his in wrapped in a bag. But anyway, we're considering, thank you, everybody, for coming. At this point, we're going to continue with item number 4. Consider and approve a resolution by the City Council of the City of Crockett, Texas, requiring financial assistance from the Texas Water Development Board under eligible programs, including the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund. John?
Mayor and council, we have the resolutions to follow up with our last meeting where we voted on the intent to apply for the Texas Water Development Board. We have a Clean Water State Revolving Fund and a Drinking Water State Revolving Fund that we are applying for water and wastewater improvements. For our water, we have one submission that we're 53rd, I think, on the list. So there's still a good chance that we'll get that funding, but may likely run out of free money, what they call it. They call it loan forgiveness money, where we borrow the money and they do forgive the loan. So it's a grant. For our wastewater treatment plant upgrades, very necessary. We're under certain orders right now with TCQ and mandates to get a lot of our wastewater plant up and running, as I explained to y'all at our last meeting. This is the follow-up resolution to submitting both of these projects to the Texas Water Development Board for funding. And both this one and the next one. This one is our drinking water application that I'm asking council to allow us to submit.
I'll make a motion, we submit the application.
I second that motion.
It's been moved and second. All in favor? Motion carries. Okay, bring us to item number 5. Consider and approve a resolution by the City Council of the City of Crockett, Texas, requesting financial assistance from the Texas Water Development Board under eligible programs, including the Clean Water State Revolving Fund.
Mayor, this is the same application, but this is for the wastewater plant improvements. And this is the one that we're number 5 on the list. And so if the math is done correctly, if everyone received maximum amount of free money or grant money, we would still be in the running to get maximum of 70% loan forgiveness or grant. So out of a 12.5, we get a little over $8 million, right at $8 million in loan forgiveness for a $12 million project.
Sounds good to me.
I make a motion, we approve the resolution.
I second.
It's been moved and second. All in favor? Motion carries. Bring us to item number 6. Consider and approve payment of invoices from Crockett Economic and Industrial Development Corporation.
On that, Mayor and Council, I do have the invoices for y'all to review, and I will make a note that we have reached out and spoke with Workforce Solutions, who is a tenant out there, and they said that they are willing to, we're going to try to meet over the next week or so. They have a couple conferences that they're working on, and then we're going to meet and go over the lease agreement so I can take it back to the board.
I hadn't seen the bill, so I'm not gonna vote on this.
It's right here.
I hadn't seen them.
Yeah, we're passing them.
So,
You have, be able to.
Special. I'm just saying, it doesn't make sense. I don't understand. It's there.
What you say? Oh, you talking about?
I'm just everything out over $200.
Doesn't make sense. I don't understand where we're going with it.
That's a deposit.
That's for them to pay up to current on their rent out there.
I need to do something about this.
Yeah.
I need to do something about this.
Be next week.
Hmm?
Next week.
And we didn't get to make no comments.
Okay.
Oh, what?
City council normally gets to make comments.
Yeah, I said I'll put it for comments for the council.
No, it went straight.
No, I
over
just
there.
said for comments, but you were saying about that. If you want to say something, you're welcome.
Yeah,
I mean, you could have said, huh?
And we do have to go back and approve the minutes.
Okay. Yeah, because we didn't, I mean, we opened it for, but David, you
We
were
can,
open for
and then it
them.
went straight over there, but
No, it was open for you too.
We can.
But we good. Did you want to finish, we need to finish this
Yeah, we
item?
finish this.
Yeah, then you can make your comments, okay. Can we get a motion to approve the,
I make a motion to approve the payment of the invoices.
Second and motion.
okay, it's been moved in second, all in favor? Motion carries. Now, if you have a comment, feel free.
yeah. What's the status on Fifth Street?
So I met with the engineers again last week. They've already approved the repairs, and they had to increase the total project limits
Another part.
to another 200 feet past where they had initially gotten quotes for. So they went ahead, because we brought up some other road defects that were kind of further than what they had measured initially. So they expanded their total project size. And going to approve to get the project started, EDA, since they were the initial funding entity, at this point, KSA is paying for, and the AGG, which is the geotechnical firm, and the contractors, they're sharing in the cost of the repairs. So they've already come to the consensus to take care of the project.
When?
So in getting the project started, they had to go to EDA, since they were the initial funding entity, and submit a change order request. So
They've already paid for it. They
They've
paid for a
paid for it,
job to
but
get done,
that,
and it,
right.
they paid for a job to get done, okay? So
I don't disagree with you.
They need to get the street fixed.
The EDA, everybody has agreed to fix the street, and the contractor said, I'm ready to go. As soon as you tell me to go, I will go. EDA is reviewing the change order. They did say
Why
that
is
they
there a
don't.
change order?
Because the project size.
They've already paid for it.
Right, but the project size has increased from 2.5 million to right
But-
at another 600,000. So the
But
project.
they've already paid for the whole street to get done, so there should not be a change order
We didn't-
because it's already been done.
We didn't
So-
understand that either, and that's why we had told them, let's go ahead, everybody's in agreement to
Okay.
do it, so, but EDA
The
said they required.
three, okay, we got KSA, we got KSA, we have
The geotechnical firm,
Geo, okay, and then we got,
the prime contractor, which
Prime.
is Terry Black, and the subcontractor, Crockett Construction,
okay, so there's 4 involved.
correct.
And we've got how many streets fixing to be coming up for bids? 9, 10 streets
Correct.
coming up for bids with a total of how much money?
6 million.
$6 million. I will not vote on any of these people until this street gets fixed. It's been too long. It's been too long.
I've advised them of that.
It's been too long. And I would hope that my people would stand with me on this. They've already been paid. It needs to be fixed, and it needs to be fixed now. Now. So,
Okay. Any other?
I agree.
I'm tired of worrying about Fifth Street and people calling me about Fifth Street. It needs to be fixed. Or these people that's gonna be bidding on this $6 million worth of street fixing, will go out somewhere else. And I hope
And we'll get your vote.
that everybody here will stand with me on this.
I think that, the position of our city administrator, he can't force the in-house workings of the entity that's supposed to, actually get out there and fix the street unless we have to send them some type of legal document to encourage them.
We already have.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they've done, from this end, it's done, but because of the number of
They're,
people.
they're ignoring us.
No,
They're not, they have all said, we are ready to start, we're ready to go. The engineering is
already-
Why
complete.
don't we're ready to go. Let's go. Let's go. We're ready.
Yeah, they
Let's
have
do
the
it.
drawing, they have the stuff
Let's do it.
lined up. But they can't do it until all parties. I mean, it would be
Until
nice.
Until EDA signs off and says that they
They
can go
can do
forward,
it. They're
they said
ready.
that we would be.
The fix the part that's broke.
Yeah.
Fix it where people can drive down the street. And
Well,
then
all
worry
of it
about the
now.
other later.
Well,
Come on.
I share frustration in the same manner.
okay. Any other comments?
And then we need to go, the approval of the minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry, we skipped back to number 1, we're almost there.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, the minutes before you, can we get a motion to approve the minutes?
I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and second, all in favor? Motion carries. Okay, so that should end that. Meeting's adjourned.
All right.
Unproductive.
What else is within your power that you can do?
They've done,
to facilitate?
they laid it out. It's
Already done.
he done filed the lawsuit.